here today. This is exciting. I hear that Vice President Pence is already approaching the building, so let's make sure he can hear us in here. Who's in for Vice President Pence, Trump Pence country? Give him a round. That's right. Guys, I'm going to talk to you very quickly about the battlefield that we saw on the ground. Now, you have already heard from Senator Dawson, who has served admirably in our U.S. Armed Forces with the U.S. Army. I'm privileged to serve today with the U.S. Air Force as a commander right here across the street with our Air National Guard. Could you just go ahead and raise your hand if you've been serving our country? There's a spouse or as a veteran right here for our state. I see a couple of them out there. Thank you for your service. A round of applause for what you do. A round of applause for what you do for our state. Here we are today at the precipice. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That's what this election's about. This is what you in this room have come to see. The opportunity to see which party is going to stand up for what you believe, to fight for what you want, and to work to make sure that our state stays number one. Now, I've been privileged for the last 4 years to serve as a House Majority Whip. And during that time, we've accomplished a lot. These things don't just happen. They are the direct result of all of us working together to move our state forward. And so when I see representatives and senators, I'm excited for your leadership. But what I'm most excited about is to look at this front row of young people, of veterans, of servants who are making a priority. That Iowa is the #1 place for a middle-class family to live. That Iowa is the #1 graduation state in the country. That Iowa is the 3rd best managed state in the entire U.S. That's the result of hard work, but it's the result of you keeping us in a position that we can serve you. So as we go forward today, I want you to think about who you'd like to see in the State House, in the governor's mansion, and in Congress. Because the options are pretty stark. We can have a congressman like David Young, who's been here fighting for veterans, who's put together a 24-hour call network on a bipartisan basis to make sure that those of us in need are taken care of. Or we can have a Congress whose very first action is to impeach the president just for being the president. And that is something none of us want. The second aspect is you can look forward to our state and say, what is it that we want to see? How do we get those votes? And I'm here to tell you today I'm very excited about where we are in early voting. So from the trenches, raise your hand if you've been out there, brothers in arms, getting people to vote, knocking on doors, putting up yard signs, getting people to the ballot box, informing other citizens. This is the reflection of your hard work. Let me tell you where we were 2 years ago when I was running for my second term in the Iowa House. In my district alone, East Polk County, Altoona, Bondurant, we were down 700 votes at this time, just in absentee votes. Do you know where we are today? 72. We are neck and neck with the Democrats, something that's never happened before in Iowa's history. Across the state, we go into Election Day 24,000 votes down. Right now, we've closed that gap to 8,000. Well done. That's a congratulations to you and your hard work. Folks, I'm very excited to have the opportunity to serve you, and I'm very excited that President Pence is making Iowa a top priority for all of us. David Young has worked hard for us, and it's impossible not to see him in our communities, in our towns, in our coffee shops, because he's there every single month, back in Iowa, working for your support. And I want to talk about somebody else who's working just as hard every single day. It's a woman who's a statewide office holder who grew up here in Iowa. Now, one of the hardest jobs at the statewide office is to keep government accountable at any level. And Mary Mosman, as our state auditor, has done that every single day. In her time in office, she's run over 100 investigations into local governments who have been using your tax dollars inappropriately. And she has held them accountable. Over $14 million in the last 4 years have been brought back to Iowa from folks who have used that money for their own personal wealth instead of putting the people first, instead of recognizing the community is a reflection of you and not your own personal gain. So I'm very excited when I see that Mary is running for her second term for Iowa's next auditor. She is holding Iowa accountable at the government level, and she is serving our state in a very proud way. Please welcome Mary Mosman, our next state auditor.